My name is Samantha Hugh, and I'm a video producer. And at the moment, I'm making a film about ADHD in women who have had late diagnosis in life. So the purpose is to spark an awareness-raising campaign about ADHD in girls and women, which are currently significantly underdiagnosed. So I would like to welcome Suzi Payton, who's an ADHD coach and also have ADHD herself, to my first Instagram live. And so this is just a very kind of informal, cozy conversation with women who have ADHD. So we can all find out a bit more about it and see what we can do about it. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me, Suzi. Would you like to introduce yourself and maybe tell us a bit about what you do?
Yeah, hi everyone. So my name's Suzi Payton. I'm a coach. I work with women with ADHD, ASD, and any other kind of co-occurring conditions. And I love supporting people to get to where they want to be.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Suzi. And also, I think you mentioned to me that you do stand-up comedy as well, and that's really impressive. So that must, yeah, so that must really involve like thinking on your feet, which, ADHD people are good at doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's such a connection there. For over 10 years, I've done stand-up comedy and comedy improvisation. My main passion at the moment is the improvisation, where, like you say, you have to think on your feet. There's no pre-planning. You're given a suggestion. You could be, I don't know, the Eiffel Tower, and you and your scene partner just make something up. So it's spontaneous, it's fun, it's always different. So it's just perfect for the ADHD brain. And the confidence that comes with doing improv is just amazing. So I teach improv as well.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. I think we can all have a bit of help with, improv, with this kind of thing, like Instagram Live or making presentations to a big audience, on a spontaneous basis. So,
Yeah.
so I know that you've been diagnosed for quite a long time now. I think it was going back 8 or 9 years, you said?
About that, yeah, 8 or 9. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So I'm really interested to see what you think about how you would describe inside the mind of a woman with ADHD. Would you be able to just, give me some ideas on what is your ADHD mind like and what does a person
Yeah,
with the condition look like?
yeah. So at its best, I would say it's a bit like a popcorn maker. So it kind of just generates ideas all by itself. So yeah, when things are going well and the mind is working, just tons and tons of ideas, which is very exciting, but it's also hard to capture those ideas. So I've always got a pen and paper to hand because some of them are gems of ideas. So that's at its best. Problem solving abilities. Again, if it's a problem that's exciting or interesting, again, my brain kind of just does its own thing and kind of solves problems. For example, working with families with neurodivergent children. How can we get our son or daughter interested in, I don't know, schoolwork? My brain kind of just takes all the information that it's learned over the years, blends it all together, and comes up with creative solutions. So that's kind of at its best in my brain. Lots of ideas and new ideas, But at its worst, it's kind of like mud. Can't really think very well. Hard to focus on any task. This is at its worst. And on those days, I kind of just accept, okay, just ride it out. Focus can be difficult. It can be extra forgetful because I haven't written things down. Which if I forget something really important, that's really sad and I feel frustrated. So it's kind of the emotional responses can, get me down as well. and make you frustrated. So yeah, it's quite a big mix of things.
Yeah, and how do you manage, your mind in order to help you on days like this?
Um, I just kind of accept, try not to fight it, try not to think I must do this, I must do that, and just accept today not much is going to happen. But if I rest, um, tomorrow will, be a better day. And it's taken a long time to kind of accept that that's how things can be.
Mm-hmm.
But just by accepting and giving myself time to rest and rejuvenate, I know that my brilliant idea-ridden mind will come back. So acceptance, I think, is a key thing, as is rest and exercise. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like I find it true. The opposite is also true in the sense that when you've been hyper focusing on a task and when you've achieved it, and you have that high, but then the next day or the following day you feel like a bit of a low, which
Yeah.
apparently is quite common in the ADHD brain. Which it's
Yeah.
contradictory because you think that you should be celebrating after you finish something you focus on, but it's the opposite effect. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a bit like that. I do some amateur dramatics as well. So kind of preparing for a play, performing in a play, and then the next day it's all finished, and it's quite a crash. I think it's quite a crash that needs recovering from. So yeah.
yeah, that's really fascinating. I'm also interested to see how ADHD manifests in a woman externally. So obviously, what's going on in our mind doesn't always match what you see on the outside. And I just wonder if you have
Yeah.
some insight about how someone would see, you or someone with ADHD on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, it doesn't match. And I appear quite calm, I've been told. I'm a calming influence, which is a great thing. But I can't keep my hands still wherever I am. It just happens that I'm holding my phone now, so I've got something to do. Sitting still, just it just doesn't happen. I'm always shifting position. If I'm in a meeting at work and it's not, well, let's say it's boring, I will be doodling away, creating lovely pictures, but still trying to listen. Um, so yeah, the mind never really stops. I can walk out if I'm in a queue in a shop. Um, I could walk out if I couldn't face the queue. Um, so yeah, there's always something going on. I think I'm a lot more relaxed than I used to be when I was younger.
Yeah. And how were you when you were younger? Were you hyperactive as a child or?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a shame in some ways. I think that hyperactivity has kind of worn off a bit. But so that was quite sad in a way. However, it it's good because I can now, I don't know, read a book without it taking forever. I can concentrate for longer. And my mind is still always going. The day my mind stops thinking, that would be a bit of a worry. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was always on my bike as a child, running around, climbing trees, just always on the move. So it's great time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate. And also, I've heard that even though, you're not outwardly hyperactive as a grown up, you have internal restlessness. So
Mm,
instead of showing physical restlessness, your mind is like racing ever more, even if
yeah.
your hands are tied. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Always thinking, and it's I just got used to it now that the only time I could, if I'm watching TV, I'm always thinking of what's on the TV, but also other ideas like for my business, which is my passion at the moment. Always thinking, always thinking. But that's how it is, and I've come to accept it.
yeah. Also, this brings me back to the point of whether pre-diagnosis, living with ADHD, did you struggle with the condition?
Yeah, I mean, I've always, growing up, I've always, had a great childhood. I was, like I say, I was always out and active, playing sports, doing all sorts of things. But the real impact came, I think, at school, in terms of learning, because I was very good at some things like sport and I think English. Maths, I couldn't grasp the basic concepts. Um, and learning was an issue. I didn't do very well in school. I underachieved. I was just having fun, really. Being the clown, winding up the teachers, but not learning very much. I've learned a lot since I left school. um, so yeah, I always had this feeling of, I know I'm clever, but also the exact same feeling of I must be stupid. So that had a real took its toll on my self-esteem. Very confusing, how I could be so good at some things and so terrible at other things and not knowing why. Very confusing, yeah.
And do you think that if you had gone to a different type of school, maybe more focused on the learning skills and creative ventures, would you have probably flourished a bit more rather than one that focused so much on academic attainment?
Yeah, possibly. It's hard to think. I mean, maybe that would have had a bigger impact on my self-esteem, which I've, really worked on ever since. And now I'm at a really good place and I focus on the things I'm good at and, do the best with the things I'm not so good at. But yeah, I mean, it's a hard one to think how things would have been.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying actually, because a lot of women after diagnosis, they feel like, if I had known I had ADHD from a young age, it would have changed everything. And would it really? Because, after diagnosis, you can then rearrange your life and restructure your career to find one that really suits your ADHD brain. And I think you
Yeah.
have found it. So I was going to ask you as well, did you thrive because of and not in spite of your ADHD? Where you
Yeah.
channel your skills and your interests to do something that make you happy and make you successful.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I often use that phrase as well, because of and not despite of, because what it's done, I've got, a really good brain in my head, that at its best can be really, really good. Um, and like I say, with the comedy improvisation, um, that's something I'm turning into my career, more teaching than performing. I still love to perform, but my performance is going in a different direction with the amateur dramatics when we can perform again. So yeah, the comedy, somebody says I ooze comedy, I have comedy in my bones, which is quite a nice thing to say. So yes, using my strengths, comedy, coaching. I mean, I was a teacher and I love teaching children. I just don't like the education system. It's too stressful for me, as well as the kids, poor things. And it took me a long time to realize that that wasn't the right environment for me. The constant pressure, I need a break from that. So coaching, I'm now a qualified coach and love coaching people one to one, helping them achieve their goals, overcome their barriers, whatever they may be. And I'm just about to put a course together that combines the coaching and the comedy skills as like a real big confidence boost for people with ADHD, autism, whatever. So I'm now making it work for me. I'm very close to making it my dream.
Yeah, well, it sounds really fulfilling. And it just crossed my mind as well whilst you were talking about, the things that you like to do and you're making it into a career right now and you're helping people. So in order to get all that done, you must have some coping systems, some systems in place that help you achieve these things, right? So like, are you especially organized, or have you got some help, like from somebody
Yeah.
to help you?
Yeah, I would never have described myself as an organized person. I think what happened was over the years, just developing ways of coping unconsciously, and now these days, over the past 8 years, consciously, just recognizing, okay, if I say I'm going to do something, and I don't write it down, just simple things like taking out the rubbish. Um, if I don't write it down, it really is not going to happen, no matter how much I want it to. So I have systems in place now that anything I need to do, want to do, write it down. In terms of being organised, I've really learned how to use my Outlook calendar at work, and everything goes in there. Even like tasks, daily home tasks, because I'm at home at the moment. Um, and then that's synced with my other calendar. I've got a diary so that I write it down as well. So that physical act of writing. So it's kind of having lots of different places so that I'm giving myself the best chance. And also, you can't see it, but I've got some writing on my hand as well. And that's for important things. You know, I had a potential client that I needed to call, and that had to go on the hand. You know, so yeah, lots of coping, lots of self-acceptance and de-stressing, because stress, when I am stressed or overwhelmed, that's when all these coping strategies, they kind of just go out of the window because I can't think.
Yeah.
So self-care, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, because our mind work like a million miles, you know, and it just helps you take a break, you know, from what you're doing, and just unplug and re-strategize, you know, to work out if what you're doing now is really what you need in your space. So I gather that what you say is that in order to achieve what we want as an ADHD woman, you would need to put some systems in place to help you cope, whether it's through you know, putting lots of lists around you, you know, having a mentor who could keep you, you know, accountable, or, you know, just to like exercise and have like better self-care to relax. You know, it's really important for us, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know you were saying earlier about taking on too much. And that's been a real thing as well. Like, yes, I can do this. Yes, I can do that. Saying yes to everything, and then it all crashing down, and overwhelming. So now I'm focusing on that as well, not saying yes to everything.
That's right. I think like with ADHD, that I came across a term that really aptly describes this condition. It's being chronically overwhelmed, you know, and that is so easy to happen to us. So it's important to regroup and, you know, relax.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me on this this first live session. You know, I
Yeah,
will,
thank you for having me.
it's been a real pleasure, and I will post this on my IGTV, and I'll send you a link as well. So yeah, I mean, the next thing I'm planning, apart from a few more interviews, is a Zoom dance party. You know, which I think I've sort of decided on the next 2 Saturdays. So I'll send you some details as well after this, and post it, you know, on social media. But
yeah, I'll be up for that.
Yeah, so
Sounds
very
fun.
nice to have you today, Suzi, and I'm sure I will be you know, talking to you very soon again as well. So good luck with everything that you have going on. It sounds really exciting.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.